Hi everyone. We are back for a live cooking video today, and I'm doing something a little special today. I have Janine Bernstein with me, and I did a video interview with her, I guess about a month ago now. And we had a nice chat, and we were chatting after the video. Has a radio show called Get the Funk Out. And I was on that, and we were chatting all things vegan and food. And I said, well, let's maybe do a couple of videos together cooking and see how it goes. So she's joining today, and she's going to kind of converse with us all and the comments. Hi, Carolyn. Nice to see you. And have some fun together. So here's Janine. Thank you for joining us today.
I'm so excited to be here. Yeah, I had reached out to you because I became vegan a while ago. I started off as vegetarian and it was a gradual thing. And I just found myself really enjoying more recipes that were vegan. And I realized that, there are so many great ingredients I can incorporate into my diet. And as you and I talked, I think you and I would have been friends, as you said, when we were younger, because I was addicted to junk food. I ate every processed food there was.
Yep.
And I was really unhealthy.
Yeah.
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 So
Me
this,
too.
I have your book right here. I
Nice.
love this book. My niece introduced me to this book. So I'm really excited to be here and learn more from you.
Yeah, that's how we connected. Everyone was her niece. Mentioned, I guess she had tried one of my recipes and
A
told you.
few. The artichoke dip,
Okay.
delicious. Yeah.
Yeah, and yeah, I had the same history as a kid. I loved all things junk food. I loved food, period, which is why I'm here today. But I used to just gorge on junk food all the time. It was
Right.
like a happy place, and it ended up being not good, like you said, unhealthy. And then
Yes.
you have to learn and come back from it. It
Yeah.
created a lot of food issues as well, which a lot of seems like most women have, unfortunately. Having to connect with food in a new way, a healthy
Yes.
way. Yeah. Yeah. And I'm seeing tons of people joining in. Hello,
Oh, good.
everyone. All kinds of Denise and Nancy, Marlene, Carolyn, Marie. Hello, everyone. So we are making today a pumpkin pudding because we wanted to do something kind of festive. It's fall. We're heading into Halloween and Thanksgiving, and this is something that can be for both events and all through the fall, really. And I prepped one earlier, so this is kind of
That
how we
looks so
can.
good.
Isn't that fun?
I'll take that.
Yeah, there you go. If only we could do that virtually. And so this is a parfait made with the pumpkin chia pudding. And it's
Yum.
really easy to make. Kids love it, but it's not just for kids, of course.
No
And
way.
we're gonna, yeah, make that here today. And I have to ask you about, oh, Janine, you should also tell them you are growing your own winter squash. And
Oh, yes.
yeah.
So I was sharing with you that I suddenly decided to try some new things during quarantine, and in
Yeah.
March I was cooking a butternut squash organic. So I said, "Well, let me save the seeds," and I put them in organic dirt in my window, and within less than a week I had sprouts, and then I had plants, and then I put them outside, and now I have a ton of plants, and I've probably had about a dozen beautiful butternut squash organic out of it, and I just keep redoing it. I
Amazing.
keep planning and planning, and it's been a beautiful thing, and I've shared a couple with neighbors and family, and yeah.
I bet they taste amazing because I actually baked up some squash today just because I love them and I always like to have them on hand. And I noticed my butternut squash was a little watery. And sometimes you get them and they're really dense and flavorful, and other times they're a little watery. I don't know why. So I
Yeah, I
bet,
don't know.
yeah.
I know that after I pick them, I let them ripen more inside before I cook them. I wait till they're kind of an orangey, like a pale orange color, because if they're
Oh,
whitish, I don't feel that they're ready yet.
oh, I didn't even
So
know they
that's
could ripen.
yes, they do inside. So they get a little darker
Yeah.
inside. Now, again, I know nothing.
No,
It was
no,
just something I just came up with, and it's been a beautiful thing. It's one of
yeah.
the plus sides of COVID.
That's yeah, right. Learning
Yeah,
to do things on your own
right.
and cooking more, and that's really cool. I did not know that about squash because there's a lot of fruits, and it is a fruit technically, right?
Is it really?
I think it is because it has the seeds inside, and I think same with tomatoes,
Okay.
and, yeah, and red
Oh,
peppers.
tomatoes are so easy to grow.
I I terrorize tomatoes every year. I try and
Really?
Yeah.
All I
don't.
do is I take all my scraps.
Yeah.
Sometimes I have like a surprise garden where I don't quite know what it is will sprout up.
Right.
But if you take the tomatoes that are rotten and just throw them in the dirt, I pretty successful. Yeah.
Oh, well, that's so you just throw away your scraps and then you get to grow things.
Yes, exactly.
Okay. See, look at all the tips we're learning today. So
So
Janine,
walk us through what you're doing.
yeah, this is 3/4 cup of pumpkin puree. So talking about baking squash, there's no reason why you couldn't use your own baked squash for this, right?
Yes.
And it's interesting because canned pumpkin is not available everywhere. I learned after releasing the recipes. Apparently in North America, it's quite popular, but if you go, I think in Australia, it doesn't exist. And it's odd because I noticed that as North Americans, we tend to use pumpkins for carving and we buy canned pumpkin, but we don't seem to cook pumpkin like we do, say, butternut squash or.
You're right.
Yeah, it's a weird thing.
That is weird because couldn't you cook a pumpkin just like a squash?
I think so. I think, however, the ones they use here are maybe the pie pumpkins or sugar pie pumpkins.
Maybe.
But even so, we still tend to buy other winter squash and then buy canned pumpkin. I don't know. I think it's, a habit, right?
Right.
So this is just pure canned pumpkin. It's not pumpkin pie puree or pumpkin pie filling, which is sweetened and has spices. This is straight up pumpkin, so you can use it for anything. And this is 3/4 of a cup. And then I'm adding some spices and chia seeds. So in my original recipe, and the links everything is in the description for the recipe links and such. I'm seeing Maria go pudding, like she loves.
Oh, I love pudding.
We were talking about that too, how much as kids we love pudding.
Yeah.
I used to love those really, really unhealthy pudding cups by, I think it was like
Snack Pack or something.
Oh,
partially hydrogenated. Not that you ever knew what you were eating. Yeah.
I'd eat one after another after another. So we're adding some chia seeds. In my original recipe, I had 3 tablespoons of white chia seeds. I only have the black chia seeds today. So what I'm doing is I'm reducing it to 1 tablespoon. And the reason is I did make it with the black earlier and it really discolors it. So if you don't mind the color change, then you can go to 3 full tablespoons and it's more like a chia pudding. But I'm going to back off, go with 1 tablespoon, and the chia is still in there. It's just a little bit less and we'll retain more color in the pudding. And the chia is a thickener and a stabilizer in a way. So with chia seeds, when you grind them, it's like it makes the pudding. And a lot of people eat chia puddings with the chia seeds whole, but I notice my own kids, they don't like that texture of the whole chia seed.
Here's a quick question, because I know this for flax seeds, you must grind the flax seeds in order to get the nutritional benefits.
Yeah.
Is that the same for chia?
No, it's interesting. It's you can absorb it whole or
didn't know that.
Isn't that, it's weird.
That is really weird. Okay.
Chia, it's either or. But I do find when it's blended in, you don't really notice it as much. Like they don't get stuck in your teeth. And chia seeds will get stuck in your teeth. So we've got a tablespoon of that and then some spices. And spices you can play with if you like a little bit more of a pumpkin-y spice. You can up it. I have a teaspoon of cinnamon. Most of us like cinnamon, I think. I might add just
yes.
And you can use straight up pumpkin pie spice. I just find some people don't have that on hand. And also sometimes I find they're kind of stale tasting. So I do prefer to sometimes use my own blend of spices because pumpkin pie spice is the kind of thing you might use a couple times a year. Whereas if you're using cinnamon, well, you use that a lot. So it's a fresher spice, right? You keep using your spice more often. And so it doesn't get stale.
Excuse me, was that your secret blend of spice? Does that include like nutmeg?
Yes. Did I not say that was nutmeg? Sorry.
No, it's okay.
Oh, okay.
You didn't, but I was just wondering what
Yeah, that was cinnamon and nutmeg.
Got it.
And you can put a little ground ginger in. I don't have ground ginger right now. I ran out. So I'm going to skip it, but I might put a little bit of allspice in there.
Oh, that sounds good.
Yeah. And another nice thing in spices is cardamom. If you've not tried cardamom, I encourage you to do so. And it can be used in savory and sweet. It's really, really lovely. And then we've got some milk. So you can use any milk you like. I'm using an oat milk, and this one is just water and oats. There's no other ingredients. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start this with less milk than is called for initially, because I want to get the chia seeds really blended. So then I'll add the rest of the liquid after. So this is going to be noisy, Janine.
Okay.
Here we go. There we are. And now I'll add some more milk and the rest of the ingredients. So
and the chia makes it thick?
Yes, like already you can see.
Oh, look at that.
Yeah, it doesn't look very smooth, but we're going to blend it again, but it's
right.
thick. It's like a gel. It has a gelling kind of consistency. Yeah.
And chia is so good for you.
So good for you. It's full of omegas and protein and calcium. And I know myself, I actually don't eat it regularly.
I need to have more of it. I don't have enough of it. And I love pudding. So
this is a good way to do it, right?
It is. Yeah. I can suffer through it.
Flax more than I put it in smoothies, and I don't tend to use chia as much. Right. I don't know why. Again, it's habit, right?
Sure.
Okay, so I'm going to add the rest of the milk. So another 1/4 cup of milk. And some maple syrup. So I use pure maple syrup, and we've got a 1/4 cup of that. And if you don't like, I mean, this is not super sweet with a 1/4 cup of milk or a 1/4 cup of maple syrup, but you can always adjust that and use less if you want. And just checking my ingredients here, we do need just a pinch of salt. So I tend to use just a smidgen to bring out, it kind of heightens the sweetness. And I also have some vanilla. Let's see. I'm going to actually use my vanilla bean powder today. Where did I put that? I used it earlier. Okay, I'm not using my vanilla bean powder today.
Okay.
I do have it here. Here it is.
No pressure.
So this is not the only brand you can get, but vanilla bean powder is the actual vanilla beans, and they're ground into a powder, the full bean. So there was a whole time I found, like maybe 10 years ago, vanilla beans became really popular, the pods, and you'd scrape out the seeds. But I found I never used the pods then. Like they would just be discarded. So this is the full bean, and it's
the whole thing.
Yeah, and it smells, it's amazing.
I've never cooked with that, but that's a great idea.
It smells so beautiful. That's it.
I need like a smell button.
Right. Totally. And it's pricey to buy. Like this bag is probably $25 or something, but you use so little, it lasts quite a while.
Sure.
Buy a smaller amount and just, use it sparingly, but it adds so much beautiful flavor. So I'm going to try maybe an 1/8 teaspoon. You don't need much. And it's just little tiny.
Oh, it's little. Yes.
Really, really little. Yeah.
Right.
My kids love it. Whenever I open it, they come over for a sniff.
Your assistants.
Yeah. And so I've got that. And I add a tiny bit of coconut sugar. So coconut sugar is an interesting ingredient because I think people feel like the healthiest sweeteners are just dried fruits like dates. And dates are a healthy sweetener, but coconut sugar is actually lower on the glycemic index.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Than dates. Yeah. So if you have blood sugar, and you're trying to maintain it, dates can spike it more than coconut sugar. Yeah.
So excuse me. So if they can't use the maple syrup because it's too much sugar, they could turn to that?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
Or they could use, if they want to use date syrup, they could use date syrup or coconut nectar. That's a really nice sweetener as well.
That sounds
There's
good.
lots of alternatives now, right? When we grew up, it was just white sugar. That was the only thing.
I know. And snack pack.
What's that?
And snack pack pudding.
Yes.
Those little cups. Yeah.
Yes. And that is literally it. And this thickens up more, but you can see already it's thick on the lid, right?
Yes.
It's thick already, but once you put it in the fridge, it will thicken even more.
Okay.
And it smells nice and pumpkiny. And it's funny because pumpkin itself, it's more the seasonings that we put in it that make it
Right.
special than the
Sure.
actual, canned pumpkin.
It's a feel good though.
Oh, it sure is.
Such a feel good. When we need that right now.
Totally, totally. I feel the
Yeah.
same about apple dishes, like apple
Yes.
crisp and that kind of thing.
Yes.
So we'll layer up our pudding now. So you can see how easy that is. That was, I wasn't talking, would be 5 minutes even.
Okay.
Yeah.
How long do you have to put it in the fridge for?
I'd say, you ideally maybe 15 minutes. And I didn't use as much chia as the original recipe. So because I wanted to keep the color a little nicer.
Got it.
If you use 2 tablespoons, this would thicken up much more. So
Okay.
I'd say 15, 20 minutes and then it'll thicken up. But let's just build a few parfaits.
It's a great thing to make with kids.
Totally. Yeah. And
Yeah.
then they can layer in, they could put some fruit in there too, chopped apple,
Mm-hmm.
Banana if they like. And then find a nice, this is a brand of, other way, non-dairy yogurt that
Oh,
we
yeah,
get
Silk.
like. Yeah. This one is almond based. And I find with non-dairy yogurts, have you tried a lot of brands?
Some, and then not a big fan of some of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's hit or miss. Yeah.
Right.
So you sometimes if you try one and then you think, ugh, these are not good, try
Right.
another brand because it really, even with this brand, they have coconut ones and I don't like those as much. So
You don't. Okay.
no, it's personal preference, right?
Is that a almond based one?
Yes, this
one-
one is almond
almond.
based.
I
Yeah.
like almond.
Yeah, and it's vanilla flavor, so it's lovely. It's not too sweet. It has some sweetener added, but it's not overly sweet.
Okay.
And then a little more yogurt. Some granola would be nice in this too. And I do have an almond granola recipe in the book, so that would be really good. And then I actually made some coconut whipped cream today.
Ooh.
And so you can do that with canned coconut milk, but you can also buy vegan whipped cream now. And
That's true.
pretty available if you want a shortcut.
And to make your coconut whipped cream, how did you do that? Just
Yeah, so it's canned coconut milk, and you want to refrigerate the can of coconut milk, ideally overnight, and then the thick cream rises to the top, and that's what you want to use. If you get any of the water in it, then it doesn't whip
won't
up.
work. Yeah.
Yeah, so you want to get the thick cream, and it's chilled, and then you put it in a mixer using the which one is it? This one.
Oh, that one.
Someone
Yes.
might be able to tell me what that's called.
Yes. The
um,
whipping device. I don't know.
Thank you, the whipping device. And it beats the air into it. And I like to add either lemon zest, organic lemon zest into it. That's a really nice flavor with cream.
That sounds good.
Or some vanilla.
Vanilla, the bean.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. And then you can add a little bit of sweetener if you want, but you don't have to. And it whips up fluffy. So that, and then I picked up a little ginger cookie, a little vegan ginger cookie
Oh,
yesterday.
pretty.
It's actually a huge ginger cookie.
Yummy.
Yeah. it
And
looks
there's a
good.
bite missing.
That is, but I would take claim for it, but it's from this one.
Okay. That's so pretty how you did the pudding and the layers with the cookie on top.
Yeah, well, it's funny. My photographer did this for the cookbook, and I thought, well, wasn't that clever? And so I'm just kind of recreating what she did.
It looks
and then
great.
You've got a really pretty, that's, it doesn't have to be fancy. You can put it in a tumbler cup or any
Mhm.
kind of bowl, but it makes it, if you do want to make it kind of elegant, then you have the option to do so, right?
It's beautiful. You know, I was sharing with you another time how my grandmother used to make homemade cream puffs. So she
Oh.
would make the shells and everything, and she would fill them with pudding and then glaze the top with homemade chocolate sauce.
Oh
You
my
could
gosh.
actually, for the holidays, fill the little shell with the
Yeah.
pudding or do a mix of whipped cream, non-dairy whipped cream, the pudding, and then glaze it the top.
Yeah, that would be so lovely.
Wouldn't it?
Yeah. I mean, just about everything can be made vegan now, right? And
Yes.
I think one of the last frontiers for everyone was egg whites. Like, how do you make a meringue? But then we somehow discovered that the brine from coconut or from chickpea,
Oh,
uh,
yes.
not chickpeas, the aquafaba,
Yes.
that can be whipped into a meringue type
That's
topping. And
amazing.
for now, it's like there's everything. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And so that's it. That's the easy pudding.
Looks
Um,
yummy.
yeah, I see we have some questions, but I'm not sure if. Hi, Willow. Yes, we are making pumpkin chia pudding. And Denise asked if we made the cookies. I didn't make the cookie, but I do have a ginger cookie recipe on my website and in Let the Meat Vegan. So you could
Oh,
make it
good.
at home, right? Yeah. And so this is a nice treat, like for Halloween, but Thanksgiving, anytime really.
Right now,
Right now, exactly. So I can't really
right
share it
after I'm
here.
done with you, I'll be making that.
Are you gonna make it? Give it a try.
Yeah.
You could probably use your homemade or your homegrown squash,
Yes, you're
right?
right.
Yeah, for
Yeah,
sure.
it's amazing.
Yeah.
You know, it's interesting. A while ago, when I told people I was going vegan, vegan has a bad rap, you know, and I know there's a lot of processed foods for different things, whether you're gluten free, but for me, I just wanted to eat real foods, real homemade dishes,
Yeah.
nothing processed,
Yeah.
and that's why I wanted you on my show because I really love the fact you use real ingredients. Yeah.
Yeah, and that I think that's because when I started, it was 25 years ago, there really weren't options then. There was very few even non-dairy milks. I think there was
Hmm.
one brand of soy milk and maybe one brand of rice milk, and
That's
that was it.
hard.
Yeah, there was very little. So there were not a lot of options to go out and get the convenience foods. And I
Hmm.
think they're so fabulous to help people, especially in how we live now and busy lives and driving kids here, there, and everywhere,
Right.
to have those things. But I know myself when we eat that one night, if we have one night where we're having pizzas, the next night, I know we all want to have something more
Yes.
nourishing, like
Yes.
a lentil stew or something like that, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, good.
Very good. Well, thank you for joining me.
Thanks
And
for having me.
yeah,
I
yeah.
learned a lot.
And do you want to mention for everyone your show and your site?
Sure. So I host a show called Get the Funk Out. And the show actually came about through loss. That's why it's a quirky name because I was in my own funk. End of 2010. 2011, I launched the show. And it was a way for me to heal through the loss of my friend and also give other people a platform to share things they've been through personally, professionally, whatever. But if you go to my website, JaneneBernstein.com, I'm going to have to spell that JaneAne Bernstein, BERNSTEIN.com. You'll find out more about me.
Lovely. And I love that premise because everyone, the more I talk to people, and I talk to a lot of people, especially through teaching yoga, we all have stuff. Like we
Yes.
all have some kind of story that's challenged us, whether, like you say, it's loss from a physical person in our life or something that has crippled us in a way,
Yes.
that we've had to work through.
Yeah.
And I think the more we connect with each other and hear those stories, we can get some strength from it.
And look at what we're in right now. I
Right.
mean, we have never. There's no way we could have prepared for this.
No.
And so many people I know are in a funk. So the best way we can do is just take really good care of ourselves, eat well, do new things. Try to stay positive.
Totally.
Yeah.
Be kind and show others that compassion, right? And
Right.
spread it out there. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, thank you very much. And I did add your website in the description.
Oh,
So
thank
guys,
you.
go over and have a look and get the website link for the pudding and have some good food and have a good listen to some.
Quick question before we wrap. Any advice for people that are dealing with Halloween issues? They're thinking, we had talked about this. Any ideas you want to throw out for Halloween?
Yeah, because it seems like Halloween is going to go ahead, but in a very different way this year. And I suspect trick-or-treaters are not going to be coming to our doors. So I've heard some ideas of doing things like putting little treat bags and hanging them on, if you have a tree in front of your house, hanging little treat bags off of your tree for kids to just be able to take one, and then they're not touching numerous other
Hands in the
candy.
bowl. And,
Yeah. And when you do put a bowl of candy out there, it's typical that, one or two kids will take
Sure.
a lot of them, right?
Yeah.
But I think this year will be different, that everyone knows that this is the way it has to be done. And, there's going to be select treats. So I think that's what we will do. I've also heard an idea of kind of just placing them along in a row at the end of your driveway so kids can get them that way. So we may just have to get a little creative, but I think you can be fun with that too. And then you can
Right.
even give out nicer treats.
Yes.
I like to give out bags of, not that I pop, but pre-made vegan popcorn in little bags.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, and they're more expensive to buy, but if you get a nicer treat, then you can make it a little more special. Maybe put it in a little baggie with some vegan gummies, and you've got a nice little treat versus some really junky candy, right?
Sure.
Yeah.
That you and
Yeah.
I both loved when we were little, let's face it.
Oh boy. I knew them all, and I loved them all. So
I know.
yeah,
I hear you. Well, this
totally.
has been wonderful. I want to thank you so much for having me join you today.
Yeah, thank you back. And we will try to do it again. And now that we've
I'd
figured
love
out,
that.
it took us a while, guys, to figure out the 2 videos syncing up, but
You did it.
yeah, we did it. So thank you everyone for joining in, and I'll try to address the questions after. So if you did ask a question, I'll pop in after and answer. Have a lovely day, Janine.
You too. Take care.
Okay.
Bye,
Take
everyone.
care. Bye,
Thank
everyone.
you. Bye.